Right. Oh, I pressed the wrong button. Right, there we go. What's going on, everybody? Welcome in. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome to Sunday night. It is officially that time again where we go live to talk all things crypto, and it is not good, all right? There's the caveat before we even start. There are some key things that have failed us. Casey, what's going on, buddy? That have failed us that we need to talk about. The question is, how bad is it? Is there any hope left? And what should you, or I guess, what am I doing right now in the markets versus maybe what you guys are doing? So we'll talk all about that. Like I said, it's not good news. If I'm honest, just right off the bat, not good news. But as with everything and anything, there's always a caveat and there's always an opportunity. I'm just going to open up 1 second. Because it's going to be, well, A, I need to be able to see the chat, which is kind of annoying. So I need to kind of do my jacket on. B, it means it'll be really warm in here. So, but yeah, obviously today was a big day. It was a moment of definition. Now there's always two stories or two sides to a story. That you've got the people that are like super bearish, that are like, yep, the market's over, bull run's done, get the hell out of there. You got the people that are absolutely super bullish, and we're going to try, or I'm going to try and just walk you through my logic, where I'm at, what I'm doing. Again, it's not financial advice. All I'll ever do is give you my view as to what I'm doing. And right off the bat, by the way, I converted some more of my, I wouldn't even say they're riskier assets. I converted ETH back into USDC today as well. So I took some more stablecoin positions with all my portfolio. So I'm not like super into stablecoin right now, but I probably have taken maybe 30% of my entire portfolio is now in stablecoin. So that's quite a big move for me in what, kind of 2 weeks. But I'll talk about kind of why I've done that, and equally why I'm probably not 100% stablecoin, because people might say, well, hold on a minute, too, but if you're taking stablecoin, why the hell are you not like 100% into stablecoin? So I'll talk a bit about that as well, and then we'll get into, what's going on. I'm data driven at this moment in time. You got to just remove the noise, remove the emotion, and base everything, in my opinion, on data. What is the data telling us? Now, depending on how you look at it, you can kind of, you can spin it one of two ways. But anyway, I'm going to try and pack out, or I'm going to certainly try and tell you what my view is, specifically driven by what data I'm looking at. And again, it is important to reference here that don't just be like, if this fails, that's it. There's a couple of things that we'll talk about. Anyway, with all that being said, don't forget, as always, smash up the like button to bang your all-time high. If it's your first time here, welcome. Hit the subscribe button. Also, tap a follow. That way you're notified whenever I put content out, which is every freaking day, by the way. Also, you get notified of these live streams, which, again, this one, super important. So, and likewise, if you're on YouTube as well, give us a thumbs up, hit the like and subscribe and all of that good stuff. Okay, so what is going on? And for many of you that are savvy enough, I've got a new little indicator here at the bottom. Crypto cycle ending, discuss the market. See, AI's in there. Is the bull run over? What's your opinion? I think it's not great. All right. Is the bull run over? It feels like it's very close. It feels like it's very close. Too bad you sold too late to cover your tax, even buying a dip now. Well, it depends though, doesn't it? It depends when you bought it. That's the answer. It depends when you bought it, and equally it depends where you kind of think. If you're referring to unrealized gains, that doesn't come into effect on January the 1st. So we're sort of all right. We're sort of all right to a degree. However, I always pay my taxes, and you should always pay taxes as well. Redemption says, good evening, 2 minutes bag holders. Finally bearish. I see shame. You all been buying alts all year and now 70% down. Hey, it's good the redemption's here. I like the fact that you only ever come in, just chop a couple of things and then go again. I can absolutely tell you categorically, I am not 70% down on any of my altcoin positions. If you buy Solana at $8, it's very difficult to be 70% down. If you were to say to me, well, how is your Ars Krakenu playing out? Yeah, then yeah, I mean, fair enough, that's probably not great. But yeah, anyway, So, by the way, I'm still probably like 75% bearish. I still think there's some elements in the market, which we're going to talk about in a minute. So, here is the kind of setup what we've got on the weekly candle. This is obviously what we've been looking at. We talked about this all week. We've been saying, look, the 50-week moving average is going to be a key metric as to where we're going to get to, and more importantly, how this one's going to play out. So, the reality is that we have absolutely broke below. Now, we sort of had a world of going, well, the market's kind of felt like it was going to push today. If I'm honest, was it ever going to get to 102,000? No, which is why I took some more stablecoin positions over the course of the last 24 hours. But there wasn't, I guess there was an element of, okay, the market might try and push back up, which may, look, if we got near 98,000, 100K, you kind of go, well, do you know what? Maybe, just maybe, given momentum, then we kind of in a potentially in a slightly more favorable position. However, unfortunately, the macro is kind of where we are, and ultimately kind of where this sits. And this is kind of some of the key things we're looking at. So you have to make it, like I said right at the very start, you've got to make decisions based on logic versus emotion. And I talked about that, I think, like two or 3 days last week. Which I think is important. No Point Line, you made videos about what you bought, and when you bought it, it's available for all to see. Absolutely, Redemption. Absolutely. 100%. And I would recommend you go and watch my live streams back from 2022. It's all there for everyone to see. 100%. Let me tell you, bro, you got me. You got me. Oh, Jesus Christ. Go and have a look at it. Go and have a look at it, Redemption. I mean, look, I like you because you bring a slightly different, you bring a different edge. Don't let that go to your head and start to be like a little bit of a chopper in the chat, because I'll just click 2 buttons and ban you from the stream. So I am all for people's opinions and people's views. Got to be able to back it up though. And you normally run away when you try and back stuff up. But hey, you're right. All of my videos are still available to see. I absolutely recommend you go and watch them. 100%. You go and watch them. I would also go and watch the live streams where I talk about DCA into positions. I would also go and watch the live streams back from 2022, the very bottom of the bear market, and see what I was talking about. Especially the live streams, by the way, when I was like, Solana below $10, you should be buying it. $8. I bought more Solana today. And by the way, I've been staking Solana the whole way through, earning that 7.45% APR. So beautiful. Guess how much they cost? Nothing. They're totally free. Anyway, I mean, Redemption's probably gone now anyway. But yeah, definitely go and check my videos out to see what and when I was buying, and equally why I am 75 to nearly 80% under on my entire portfolio. Definitely go and check that out. Right. Anyway, back to more serious matters. So the weekly candle definitely is confirmed and is going to confirm underneath. Now, there are 2 things and 2 narratives that you'll hear a lot of people talking about, which is 1, the bull market is over. This is the confirmation. We're going down, and you absolutely very much need to be aware of what's going on. And more importantly, how bad is it going to get? Lots of people would predict it's going to get way worse than it is. And there's a couple of ideas. I mean, look at BTC now pushing right down. ETH will probably drop below 3,000 potentially. But you look at the weekly candle. This is a big old fat weekly candle, similar to kind of what we got here. Now, I am going to sort of caveat a couple of these bits as I sort of kind of walk through and etc. But the reality is the other side of the camp is saying, hey, we have got a Bitcoin death cross. The last 2 times the Bitcoin death cross happened, this was actually super bullish, and actually the market's rallied on the back of it. This one is different. All right. It is worth noting that this one right now is different, and you should absolutely be mindful, in my opinion. Okay. Hey, do you have a nice Sunday there? It's cold. Yeah, it's exactly the same in here. I did have a Sunday dinner though, which is all kind of nice. So this is the weekly candle. I think we can very much say, look, it's going to more than likely or not close underneath what we wanted to do, and probably close relatively bearishly. By the looks of it, BTC is pushing down. Now, you could argue and say, well, hold on a minute. Who is actually selling Bitcoin? This could be people saying, yep, it's absolutely over. And this is where the difficulty of a bull market truly comes in, because you could say, well, maybe people are just dumping it because they believe the 4-year cycle is still intact. They believe the 50-week moving average has been broken. So everyone's like, yep, bull market's over. Wherever max fear is in the market, then sometimes you might end up actually playing a winner. And where I've always been in this world of, I'm going to 100% sell every little thing that I own into stablecoin and then sit there, I feel like that might not be the play right now. I'm not saying that I won't take some more tonight. I'll probably take another 20, 25%, maybe get 50, 55% in stablecoin. And then I've got 50% that rallies on the back of it. What I'm doing is de-risking, which again, I talked about it before. I probably won't take anything from the bigger players. So Ethereum, XRP, Solana, I'll probably leave them. I think where I'll be starting to remove a little bit will be any of the more fringe plays. So as much as I don't want to do it with something like Ondo, it's hard to believe that right now, if this market does continue to push down, we are definitely going to see way lower down pushes in the market, unfortunately. Asta, though, I mean, since selling Asta, that's up, 10%. So you can all thank me for that, in fairness. Zcash continues to print, but you look at this, Pepe is an example. Like, where do you hold this to? Do you believe this could be a multi-cycle market? Maybe, maybe not. Okay, maybe not. So that's kind of where I'm looking at. That's potentially what I'm going to do. Now, Now, there are some positive things to think about within this market that I did want to share. And again, what I'm trying to do is, I'm telling you what I'm doing, which is I am up to about 25% now in stablecoin. And I probably will take a little bit more tonight. But I am leaving some in there because there is some kind of stuff playing out right now within the markets that are pretty interesting. You have to invalidate the 50-week. Sorry, you have to invalidate this trend line that's continuing to move to the upside. But I was looking at the charts earlier and I was thinking, okay, is there anything like, is this obviously what everyone says, which is the confirmation of the breakdown here, then obviously the retest of the 50-week moving average, of which we lost. And then, we're just going to spiral to death and end up going down to zero, right? And I was kind of looking at it thinking, okay, well, what's happened previously? How could we validate the potential of a bullish reversal? Now, loads of people will talk about this, okay? I'm sure you've heard this. People are talking about the bear trap. And I talked about it on XRP that I thought there was definitely an XR, a little bit, Stu. I think some of these coins particularly probably feel like it is, which is why I'm less bothered about some of the bigger ones. Because I mean, I could just leave that Solana and just earn 7.5%. Like Solana is clearly going to be a multi-cycle coin, but loads of people are talking about this bear trap now. Like loads of people are talking about it. That this could be where it's at. Even Michael Saylor himself has sort of talked about this bear trap situation, which again, if it is that, well, okay, well, what's going to be the catalyst that moved us? And then I was kind of looking at some of these market structure moves and how they've sort of played out. And what you can see on here is whenever we've seen the touch on this moving or touch on this weekly support line, okay, so whenever we've kind of come down to retest some of this range, what you've then seen is the support line that then starts to push to the upside. So for example, forget this bit at the top, yeah, because this is where we currently are. But look at this. So for example, when we came down and retested this line, this was way back in kind of April 2025, 74,000. What was interesting about this one was it actually went all the way back to the March 2024 high, which obviously was our previous all-time high, where actually that support line came in. Now, cast your mind back, way back when actually, and we were talking about, kind of where weekly averages sit and kind of where all this sort of goes, okay? So interesting to see that this is a similar support line that then, guess what happened? We saw the bounce off this support line and pushing back to the upside. So then I started to think to myself, well, that's kind of interesting as to how that plays out. Where does that play out? So then you look at like the next line, you come down and you look at kind of going back to September 2024, just before we started to rally into that first push to a new all-time high. And again, you see this kind of push down, not quite hitting the line. We were close to it, but again, if you were to ignore this, which we've sort of been playing at, you get a slightly higher angle. You get a bit nearer, to be fair, right? But again, you see a very similar thing play out. We saw the consolidation back here, while at the same time, we bounced off this support line. So from the previous high consolidation for the next move up, which you'd argue that this is a phase, and then obviously the break. That again, you see this bounce off this line, followed by a push to the upside. Okay. So does this stack up again when you come down here? Well, the reality is, yes, kind of to a degree. The previous high before the move up is then the support for the next push up. So it's kind of all played out very, very similar off this line and equally at these key levels. So you say, well, okay, well, maybe this is right now. And again, if you were to kind of look at where we are right now, you would say, well, depending on how this plays, could be the line that equally is the kind of key support for us as we break back above to the upside. So, if this becomes the key support line and we can hold above this line, which FYI, by the way, is around 95,400, then that could be a thing. Logitech, sorry, man, I will read them. I can see it's in big orange text, but I don't want to come back to that and then come back to this. I promise I'll read your message in just a second. If we can push back above this 95,000 line, then I think in my head, I'm a little bit like, okay, that is a little bit of technical optimism that could sit in the market. Does it change the overall macro? Probably not at this moment in time. But there's also a couple of key things happening this week, which I think could give us some indication or maybe just some further plays out. So from a technical standpoint, I actually think that this is a more important measure, albeit the macro still feels a little bit painful. All right, the macro definitely still feels a little bit painful. And obviously this breakdown of this kind of structure here definitely sort of playing out as to where we expect. And we've sort of talked a little bit about on the fibs where this kind of sits. And if you take it back from this kind of move, you can see here that right now we are currently on the 382 Fibonacci. If we were to lose this 382 Fibonacci, which is around 94,600, so we do sort of need to
we do not, sorry, I'm just getting that right. We do not see a little bit more of an upside momentum push from this line. If we can get, a couple of these key bits that come in, maybe, just maybe, there is something that could be in this move. However, don't misread that for blind optimism. Remember what we said the other day. You've got to be logical rather than emotional whenever you're like this. And remember, losing a little bit is definitely better than losing everything. I think that's kind of the sentiment I would say. Now, there are also some key things coming this week, which I'm going to show you in just a second. But let's take a few comments. I'm going to turn you back around. TikTok. What's going on, everybody? Welcome in. Over 100 people here on TikTok. We got like 100 people in on YouTube as well. So thank you so much, everybody. Appreciate it. We'll go back to the charts and back to a little bit more of the of what's going on in the markets right now. Very much a important stream, this one. So if you haven't already tapped the screen, look at a follow. Really, really important. Likewise, do exactly the same on YouTube as well. Right, just an anchored VWAP. I mean, maybe. Hopium, we bounced now anchored VWAP from weekly September 24th lows. Hopium, you said that before. I have some Hopium for you too, but okay. So your Hopium is the VWAP on the September 24th, yeah? Broncos and Chiefs today. I don't even know what that is, Tim. Bullrun isn't over, baby. Wall Street knows what's up. You have to consider the fact that now with no government data or CPI data or jobs, employment data, we're going to have to wait and see what the Powell does at the FOMC before people make decisions. Well, a couple of things we'll talk about in just a second. 2026 alt season. I mean, maybe. I mean, the debate will be though, do we think we go lower before potentially going higher into alt season? I mean, BTC is losing these supports right now and is, as we speak, pushing down. So worth noting. Okay. Now, a couple of key things to think about as well, by the way, which is probably shifted my logic and thought process a little bit, is people are now starting to spout complete nonsense. So we had the big Michael Saylor nonsense the other day, which was like, oh, strategy's dumping Bitcoin. Not true. Complete fabrication. All lies. I actually saw this narrative being pushed around, which is Billie Eilish apparently has bought $105 million. No, she hasn't. No, she freaking hasn't. Hasn't bought any Bitcoin. Like, probably never will buy any Bitcoin. Like, get the hell out of here. I don't like this stuff. This tells me that we're in like almost like chaos mode of like, oh my God. Reminds me a little bit of like, oh, Justin Bieber spent 50 million on NFT of a monkey. You're like, all right, cool. Don't really care. Max fear in the market, by the way, at 10 is definitely never a great thing. And like we said, the fact that lots of people are uncomfortable and that repo debt that we keep talking about, bank liquidity is struggling. We'll touch on that a little bit later on. But when I said what are some of the key things that are coming this week, which is worth noting, by the way, because they may paint a very different picture as to exactly what's happening. All right. And that's definitely worth, like I said, we will run like crazy in December. All right. Fair play. Look, I hope so. Like, but bear in mind, by the way, I absolutely hope I'm wrong. ETF adoption incoming. Everyone needs to chill. Let's hope so. So, a couple of key things that I think are going to support some of the narratives that I think a lot of people are talking about, but at the same time may confirm the worst fears, okay? So, you got a couple of Fed speakers, which, by the way, last week they weren't particularly great. You've also got earnings this week. NVIDIA earnings are going to come in. Predictions, by the way, are 7% gains, which is fucking ridiculous. But anyway, look out for that. We've got loads of manufacturing data that's going to come through. One of the big ones coming on Wednesday is going to be the FOMC minutes. So obviously we'll get the minutes in terms of what was those discussions look like. How does this then look for a December rate cut? Was the decision unanimous or was there debate? We know that some people are breaking ranks in the Federal Reserve. Some people, not kind of in that place where they maybe were before. So we may get a little bit more into kind of what's coming up next. You got 24 days-ish until the next FOMC. So it is a long time, but worth noting here, by the way, 44.4%. That's 20% in a week. So even the CME Group FedWatch price rate cut prediction is now plummeting. Majority of people believe that we're going to stick to the rate we are in, which isn't something we've been for a while. So again, worth noting on that, by the way. You then sort of go into the back end of the week. We get initial jobless claims, Fed balance sheet. Again, if you didn't watch my Bitcoin video update I did earlier on, you should go and watch it. There are some things the Fed can do to stop the rot, shall we say, to support the markets without crashing everything. And bear in mind, by the way, Trump needs this to survive. Like, he does not need a recession. Let's be crystal freaking clear on that, baby. A crystal clear on that. But It is worth noting, by the way, and I don't know if you didn't catch the video, I talked a bit about this, which was ultimately not that, which is this. The Fed's secret emergency meeting with Wall Street banks, okay? They met with a number of key individuals from the banking sector to talk about this, liquidity in the banks. At the minute, the banks simply cannot service the demand of consumers wanting to withdraw capital. Simple as that, right? $50.35 billion, okay? So definitely worth what, yeah, Cobalt, you're absolutely right. So the fact of the matter is that we are seeing a chunk of change. New York Fed have followed a Friday liquidation injection with an additional $22 billion on the Monday. So the fact that they actually did do an emergency meeting tells you either one of two things, okay? In my opinion, you either get that they're going to like inject capital. They need the banks to try and chill the fuck out, like stop reducing the balance sheet, start to, you know, certainly push QT quicker out the door. And then even potentially, I mean, they could go to an emergency rate cut, which I don't think they will do, because actually when you've got the stock market pumping, which again is where Nvidia earnings are going to become important, because Nvidia is holding the stock market up. That's just life. Then you sort of get into a pretty painful place. So again, worth noting on the back of that, by the way. And equally, given that sentiment is sort of where the nervousness kind of sits in. Do you say 24 days? Are we having FOMC meeting in November? No, the next one's December. They don't do meeting in November. Wednesday, it'd be Wednesday at like this sort of time. Expectation, by the way, 7% growth, which is, I mean, it's unbelievable. It'd be like $33 billion profit, or $330 billion profit. I can't remember the number I looked at, but yeah, it's wild. It's going to be massive. And that'll either tell us that AI is still very much a good thing, but yeah, 7% gain. The problem with the 7% gain in the stock market on something like Nvidia is, well, the reality is people are going to be like, oh, okay, I'm just going to go to Nvidia, like Bitcoin's crashing, which then you'll have to put your tinfoil hat on and be like, maybe they're deliberately dumping the market so that they can pump the stock market. Maybe Nvidia could dump it. BlackRock could dump it. Is crypto going to crash further? I mean, I think so. If I'm dead honest, if you look at the key supports that we've lost, my view is if we can hold around 95,000, you might get a little bit. Whenever you've got this nervousness in the market, repo debt skyrocketing, then that's not good. But let me show you a couple of other charts, TikTok, because I think it's worth noting. There is, however, a little bit more macro data to look at. This is actually the most important graph in Bitcoin right now, which is the balance of Bitcoin on the IBIT ETF Trust. As you can see, historically, we have been going up. Now, that's all while the price has been maintaining an uptrend as well. So you can almost look at this and be like, oh, thank God for that. Thank God for that. IBIT's not dumping their Bitcoin. The reality is that we actually did see significant outflows out of there last week with a significant amount of dumping. We'll take a look at what the pre-markets look like a little bit later on, but the big bit for me is way more macro than cryptocurrency right now, and that's what that's what you need to bear in mind on sort of what we've been talking about. Again, you can see kind of the Fed balance sheet. You can see the ETFs, massive outflows, predominantly outflows actually. And again, you look at kind of the demand. I mean, that is an absolutely holy shit. Is that might even be predictions tomorrow? Fucking hell, what is that? What is 5,000 times, let's call it 94. Holy shit, $470 million. So you've got IBIT dumping $500 million. And this could be predictions, by the way. I think this is normally like a forward running number. So, you know, you could be in a world of going, yeah, we might be in for some pretty severe pain right now. Again, in my view, why it's probably worth being a bit more sensible than you were. I know people are like super bullish in the market, but again, worth noting that is an uptrend. But the key thing right now is this is a downward trend in the short term. Okay. Whether it's going to continue or not, that is the debate we've got to have. So what else have we got going on? Titan of Crypto here is giving us this. Market cycle deserved nuance. Blind optimism is what traps most people at the top right now. If I had to put numbers on it, I'd say 80% bear market, 20% bull market. So again, you've got a lot of people here flipping on this particular market. And it was all down to this 50-week moving average, which you could, if you were a conspiracy theorist, say, well, maybe, just maybe, people took opportunities for it. There was an emergency Fed meeting just the other day about bank liquidity. I would think this is bullish. Also, if it's a $2,000 checks get approved, I'd say that they will be rate cut. The trouble with the $2,000 cuts is that they won't have the liquidity, or they won't have the capital from tariffs at the moment in which they distribute them out to make it net flat. It will actually be an inflation reaction short term, and then probably should be a stimulus to the economy. The big thing will be does anything happen this week? Does Trump come out and go, yeah, we might need to do something here? But remember, the stock market's pumping. Like this is the catch-22. This is why Bitcoin is, and the crypto market, unfortunately, and not many people won't even hear this, but this is the pain that we're in. The stock market's pumping. Like, they don't need to do anything in terms of stock market. And unfortunately, the game we play, which is the crypto market, no one cares. No one cares. And, relentless selling now from ETFs and whale groups, long-term holders we talked about last week. It's worth noting they won't do anything, I don't think, that needs to, unless the S&P 500 starts to dump. What might be worth looking at is the S&P 500 futures. Can we get that up? Yes, we can. So the S&P 500 futures is actually up very minimally, 0.04. So, potentially with the S&P futures, they're probably in a place where they don't want to go too hard on the markets. But whenever you've got that, you have a real nervousness here on BTC as this continues to push down, which, like I said, definitely is worth very much being an eye and very much being keen. The other thing, the new chart, by the way, you guys can see here at the bottom, is the 50-week and the 200-week moving average. Generally, when you see the 50-week cross the 200-week, that's bad news as well. The red line is the 200. The blue line is the 50-week. That is another bearish confirmation that we've seen. So not only do you have the weekly close that's going to close badly, you've also got the bear cross, I guess. And where we've seen historically this happen before, we have actually seen some pretty solid push downs in the market, albeit generally when you see a wider gaping between these two, shall I put it on full screen? When you see a wider gap between these two, generally means higher price volatility. So what you can see here is actually we've been ranging relatively tightly over the course of the last, say, 6 months. This is now starting to widen up, while at the same time is in a bearish momentum for the, like I said, the red line being the 200 and the blue line being the 50. So again, worth to note on this, and it doesn't feel like the markets are going to, unfortunately, kind of push any higher as we talk. So that is kind of where we are. A couple of other thoughts. Again, if this is what it is, which a lot of people predict the bottom of this descending wedge, then potentially you see an upside momentum push. I think we've broken the descending wedge, and it doesn't look like we're going to confirm within that right now. So again, if you look at this one, 96,000, we're way below that. So I think a lot of this was based on, are we going to hold the 50-week moving average? And we are not, albeit with Fed QT ending in December, this could be a bullish catalyst along with, like you said, the 2,000 stimulus checks. Unfortunately, it's how quickly they can get that shit out, and is it going to make a difference? Saylor is buying. Again, I think I talked about this a couple of weeks ago and said, well, look, Michael Saylor is buying. No one really cares that he's buying anymore. No one really cares, actually. And I think there's a little bit of like, well, let's cling on to as much as we possibly can. What you got to understand is that, did I delete it? Oh, that's kind of annoying. I had strategy, didn't I? Strategy incorporated there on the NASDAQ. So yeah, 199. We talked about this, if you remember, last week or the week before. And actually, strategy is dumping and looks fucking terrible. It's back to its lows from 2024 October. So again, you kind of got to think about that. You kind of got to think about it with all the decisions. And by the way, I'm not here to tell you what to do. You just got to make the decision that you think is right for you. What I can tell you is when you've got a little bit of stablecoin, it does feel a little bit more comfortable. I'm not fully in, like I said to you before at the start of the stream, I'm not there, but isn't it quite normal for a break and perhaps a candle next we jump up and send? So the problem you've got, why this 50-week moving average is so important, late news, just because the death cross, it was apparent in the wider market in the start of August. Yeah, I mean, Roaring Kitty, you're probably right. The start of August, though, I mean, the reality is that if you said, well, the start of August was where we were screwed, we went higher than that. So, I mean, you're almost in a world saying, well, you would have been happy to, and you're right, by the way. I mean, I can't fault your argument. You would have said, well, okay, well, I'll have missed out on the all-time high, but fine, I'd have taken a decent price. That's true. That's why we always on this channel talk about the fact you should take profits on the way up. That way, it's fine. Bonds and repo market, have it away. Yeah, I mean, the repo market is slightly getting better, but yeah, it's bad. It's bad news. Bitsplay says no need for panic. So again, just to kind of reiterate what we were talking about here on this on this 50-week and why so many people now are so convinced that we are going to see this break is that every single time we have even retested and closed above it, it's actually seen a bounce to the upside. We've never closed below the 50-week moving average at all since before the bull run, really. We got a couple of candle closes here, very much below it. But again, we still held the 200-week moving average. The fact is that we've only ever been underneath it in the bear market. And when you look at previous bear markets as well, you generally see that we could break down. Now, there is always going to be an argument for, is this the bottom, which we talked about again last week. The trouble you've got is, this was obviously retail, and when retail's involved, then you can move these markets pretty quickly. When you've got BlackRock dumping 5,000 Bitcoin, that is going to be a challenge, and I think that's unfortunately what is driving this market sentiment. So, in terms of that kind of it, quite normal for a break, less likely, in my opinion. So, ow, just scratched my nose. That really hurt. Man, have I just made my nose bleed? Sorry, TikTok. Man, that really hurt. Oh, I think it's like a spot on my face. Anyway, lovely. So this is kind of why you've got such a bearish sort of view and stance on it. Like I said, if you've got the banks meeting to talk about liquidity and you've got lots of stuff coming this week, while at the same time, you've got charts that are generally showing you downside momentum, then yeah, you've got to be mindful, and you got to ask yourself the question: what would you be more annoyed about, the missing out or the not getting enough? That's the reality, isn't it? So you say, well, okay, fine, I take it now that I missed out on a top peak that was fucking 6 figures or whatever it was, and now I'm only gonna be 5 figures. Then are you happy about that versus, well, I'm just going to ride this all the way back down, which was where I was in 2021. And, maybe depends, is there still a little bit of me that says maybe the bull market could still come? Maybe there is enough conditions that tell us the optimism in the market may come back. The thing I don't like at the minute is the who is selling. 5,000 out of BlackRock's a fucking big amount of capital coming out of that market, isn't it? Now, I was checking Ethereum, see if anything was being dumped out of Ethereum, and no, so that's kind of positive. We don't see any outflows of ETH to a degree, which I guess is kind of positive. So, but yeah, I think it's worth noting. And again, like I said, you can only do the decisions that make for you, and be in a world where actually you're like, okay, I'm cool with the decisions I make, and you may go, fuck it, I got into Solana at $8. I don't give a shit if that thing gets to $75. I'm still well up. I'm gonna ride this because I think something's gonna come. Then cool. I hope that we're not in that place, but I think too much at the minute is telling us that there is at least short-term downtrends. Because the bigger debate is then, how low do you actually go? I mean, what does that look like? Do we come and retest some of these lower support lines? 73K as an example. The higher support line would be something around 88,000. Then obviously you're looking for a reversal. The 100-week moving average, by the way, is around 85,000, with the 200 somewhere down 67,000. So, we'll see. Busy Baz says, so no alt season. I mean, you got one for about 3 weeks in December, but yeah, I mean, so if you've been predominantly in altcoins, then it's been a rough ride. And if you got in early enough, great. If you didn't, then you are going to be probably in some trouble. But yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it doesn't feel like we're going to get any sort of super crazy one. Personally, bear in mind that this bull market has been like no other. Couldn't you say the historical data just doesn't apply? 100%, 100%, 100 million%. The problem is that if this is the end of the bull market, the 4-year cycle is still intact, even with institutional investment within it. So the 4-year cycle is still intact. The only thing that's different are the institutions, but in my opinion, that means that you probably get more aggressive uptrends and you get more aggressive downtrends. Think about it. We pumped way before the halving to a new all-time high, which just never happened before. So you could argue and say, well, maybe that's the difference. Maybe, yeah, that's why we're different. At the same time, though, when they dump, a lot of people have been saying, well, this is probably a little bit early for the bull market. We should have been going for another couple of weeks, maybe another 4 weeks. Then, that's kind of going to see a push down. They won't get liquidated. He actually buys Bitcoin, so it's not, they can't be liquidated. He said if it went to $1, they would still not be liquidated. His shareholders might be pretty pissed, but he would be fine. My biggest worry would be if XRP went down below 50 cents again, then I would say I'd have made the biggest mistake in not switching to stablecoin. I mean, if you were to, look, let me tell you the reasons why I'm not coming out of Ethereum, XRP, and Solana, albeit I have moved a little bit of Ethereum, not crazy amounts, but a bit. The minute, if you look at decoupling, right? Let's just say decoupling. I think that's probably an easier way to describe it. What do I mean by that? Bitcoin will only ever be Bitcoin. It won't ever do anything different. It'll just be Bitcoin, okay? It'll be a store of value, and it'll just be this kind of coin that everyone wants to own and that, you know, people can get. They're not going to be able to change it as much as they might try and fork it to something else. It'll only ever be Bitcoin. That's all it'll ever be. XRP is a little bit different. XRP could be a global transfer of capital. XRP could be the coin that all the banks use. They won't use Bitcoin. The Lightning Network and the transactional fees are too expensive and too risky. And as much as people might say, well, they're going to use like Ars Inu, or they're going to use Sui, or they're going to use... No, they're not, right? No, they're not, because no one else is doing what they are doing. No one else has got the integration that they've got. No one else has got partnerships that they've got. No one else has got liquidity providers that they've got. No one else applied for a banking license. So you could say, you know, the old one was, well, why would they use XRP if it can only do 1,500 transactions per second versus using like, I don't know, fucking Aptos or Casper or whatever that can do 1 million transactions, right? Well, the fact is, they don't care about having to do 1 million transactions because it doesn't matter. 1,500 is fine. So with XRP, I think it's a little bit different. My view is, though, that you don't be stupid with it. If XRP probably goes under $2 and the macro feels like it's going bad, then fuck it. I'm going to dump 75% of it. Since the Bitcoin Core 30 upgrade that allowed more data to be stored in transactions, it's dumped. Last 12 months, so much crypto positive policy. And yeah, I mean, that's true. Jay, though, that is the only bit that you're probably in a world where you're going, maybe, just maybe, the market isn't over yet. Maybe, just maybe, it's about to reverse. And remember, it is an important statement, when everyone else is fearful, you should be greedy. You have to apply logic, though, rather than going, well, fucking hell, everyone's shitting themselves, so I'm just going to buy, like, the tops. You do have to be mindful. I mean, Tom Lee bought more Ethereum, which is almost insane, but the reality is that there's probably more reasons it's going to go down at the moment than it's going to go up. And that is driven by sentiment. It's driven by people, driven by, you know, the fact that you just have to go on crypto Twitter right now and everyone's like, oh, the fucking bear market's here. 50-week moving average, 50-week moving average. So, but crypto's still following despite a year of positive news. We haven't fallen for a year. We broke all-time highs 5th of October. That's like 5 weeks ago. We had a brand new all-time high 5 weeks ago. So yeah, we haven't been falling. If anything, we've been in a massive uptrend over the course of the last 2 years. What's weird about this, and I won't be shaken on this, and people may, you know, call me an arsehole, whatever it is. What's weird is the aggressiveness of this dump. That's what I can't get, which was all started by that October 10th. All of it. The entire push down in the market, this entire thing, in my opinion, you could walk back. And I think as history comes, by the way, it broke it by about $15, I think. 4848 or 4884 or something like that. I think it did. Very, very close, by the way. Just came of all my positions. I've been in denial since 110. Not logical to carry on holding. Leo, I'm out of all my positions, but yeah, I'm probably 25% in stablecoin now. With probably going to take some more tonight. Over a year since January, despite Trump, not much gains. Yeah, that's true. I mean, this has been the weirdest and hardest market. And like I said, people won't shake me out from this. You can absolutely, and I truly believe, by the way, you'll be able to go back in history, like I was saying, and they'll say, oh yeah, the one that should have been, the market that should have, if by the way, it's confirmed as a bear market and we're all going to zero, it'll be the one that shouldn't have been. It'll be the one that got away from everyone, by the way, which will have been, oh yeah, everyone remembers 2025. That should have been the year that Bitcoin broke $500,000 or $200,000, the most over-excitable Bitcoin bull run ever. And it all came crashing down from Friday the 10th of October. That is literally kind of, in my opinion, how it'll be seen, because, you know, this is normal. Like, this market structure is totally fine. Totally fine. You have all-time high, you come back off the all-time high and retest some of the key supports, which is exactly what we did. We came down about 3.5%. Similar we did here. We came back down just a little bit more, about 3.8%. All-time high, where did we come down to? About 3.8. So you'll be able to go back in history and say this move here is absolutely the start of the bear market, if the bear market is so upon us. Like, you can literally be like, yeah, Friday the 10th of October was when it went wrong. And if anything, I guess at that point, that for us, maybe should have been a moment where you go, oh, maybe, okay, that's weird. That's weird that so much got dumped out of the market. But anyway, what's going on, Holmes? Good to see you, man. By the dip, must be happy. BTC will go back to 125 soon. I hope so. I hope so. Let's start a poll. Are you ... bullish? Oops, I've put bunnelish. bullish or bearish? So do you believe the market is still rocking, or do you think it's done so? You think we peak in 2026? I've never been a peak in 2026. I never, ever officially said I think the top is going to be in 2026. In my opinion, I was absolutely never a 2026. I was close to it. I did get close to it. And I guess in some respects you could kind of say, well, maybe with what's coming, the big thing I think as well is what the Fed does. I think we'll get an indication from the Fed minutes. If the Fed minutes come out and there's a bit like, actually you had 4 or 5 saying that they should have cut a bit more, that, QT's definitely going to end and that they're going to stop reducing the balance sheet, blah, 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 blah. We may get something. At the minute though, it feels a little bit like I'm just going to hold on and it's going to continue to drop down. That's my view at the minute. Like I said, I'm not going full into stablecoin. I am at the minute holding on to some. Like I said, I did take some more yesterday. So, yeah. I was what is this? No, I was going to talk about something else, but I can't remember what it was. I don't think that enough. What's that for? I've seen a bunch of liquidity will come 2026, especially near midterms. I mean, yeah, Trump has to win the midterms. Don't forget though, the midterms are November next year. Like it's pretty much the end of 2026. So yeah, it's a bit like, yeah. And here's the thing as well, and this is why this is where logic becomes important versus emotion, because to us, the most important thing in the world is the crypto market. And the, when Trump talks about cryptocurrency, you're like, yes, bullish on this. Actually, what's the bigger thing? The stock market, right? The stock market. As much as he wants crypto to do well, it is all about the stock market for him, in my opinion. I don't get why everybody's so bearish. This is normal ups and downs since 2017. Every bull run has been like this. I just think people are more scared this time than any other time. I mean, yes and no. Yes and no. If you look at a macro level, 2017, they all do the same thing, by the way. So this is 2017 here. Look, they all at some point cross the 50-week, and then the price comes down, right? Always. And equally, by the exception of a couple of times where you don't generally go back to a new all-time high once crossing the 50-week moving average, which is why so many people are putting emphasis on it. So you kind of have to play a narrative of saying, well, the market cycles are broken and the 50-week moving average is also now null and void, because the same can be said the other way. Generally speaking, when we break back above, we see a rally to the upside. Well, we're not anywhere near breaking above just yet. That doesn't mean that in these markets, shit can't get real quick, because it can. But generally speaking, you definitely sort of see that kind of momentum push with us as price breaks back up. So you can see price breaks back above the 50-week moving average, and then off we go up to new all-time highs. Break below, you can see here, break below this number, you head back into the bear market. In terms of this move, we've never broke it. So I think that's why people are putting a lot of onus on it. Now, the difference versus previous cycles, which I think is where you are, is the institutional money in it. That's my view. Bitcoin B-Jam says, is it over? Is now good buying price for Solana, 600 possibly in December, January? My view right now, by the way, is I wouldn't be buying anything. That's my view. I would just wait and see. If you're in some stable coins, I would hold on to it. 92K was the CME gap, I think. Midterms mean they won't do anything next year because they will be camping. Yeah, well, that's true. Any thoughts on Circle and recent quarterly report and non-potential? I haven't seen it, to be honest. I haven't seen it. Robert Dubber says this is not a normal cycle. Yes, although more and more it looks like it is. The market has changed, though, in my opinion, due to institutional money. The 50-week moving average has been a valid historical, but no other metrics to the upside have played out like history. Could they be the same on the front too? 100%. And I talked about this. I don't know if you were here for it, Holmes. I did talk about the fact that there are some key things within technicals that tell us that maybe, just maybe, this isn't right. I think what's different to the point of now institutional is yeah, but they're dumping huge amounts. BlackRock looking like it's going to dump 5,000 Bitcoin. That's a lot of money. A lot of money. within that market. So yes, there are definitely, I mean, because institutional money, you would argue, is going to sit on it. That's kind of where it should be. I think the difference you've got though is you've got you have the fact that these institutions now are dumping huge amounts. I mean, you look at kind of, have I still got it up or not? Let's bring it back up again. You look at the, I mean, the pre-markets look awful, by the way. The Dow looks like it's down 318. The S&P 500 down 3.4. Although I thought we got the futures on here and it looked all right. The difference you've got here, I think, where again, I think people are a little bit uncomfortable, is the sheer amount that is being dumped. And then historically, we've obviously seen where that dump has happened. It's kind of been pretty painful. So if you say, well, this is the same, the difference is you look at the concentration of how big these dumps are. It's as big, if not the biggest dump we've seen in the history of ETFs being part of this crypto cycle. If you just look at an average volume, by the way, yeah, we saw bigger dumps back here in, 26th of February, 2025, but this is consistent selling. And I think that's kind of where people are a little bit uncomfortable. What price do you think ETH will drop to? I mean, it's a good question. I mean, do you mean now? Let's go to the daily candles. I mean, you'd argue here, there's a little bit of support exactly where we are right now. And it is a proper thin level of support around, 3,000? Let's say 3,000. You break that, really strong support, you're looking at anything from around 2.6. 2.6, lower range, ends up being somewhere a little bit lower, around 2,200. But yeah, I mean, that would be where I would be looking at right now. If you were to take a interesting Fibonacci, you'd argue 2,237, pretty much on the money we talked about. Slightly higher, just at the 382 at 2.7. So 2,627 probably on ETH if we lose about 3,000. So yeah, that'd be my view on that. Below 100k, I think ETF buying starts back up. Well, it's not. I don't want to burst your bubble, but it's not. They're dumping even more. Starting now, to sell anything now and buy Bitcoin would be pointless because every Bitcoin is still going down. Yeah, the only move if you are going to get out of the market is to go into stable coins. That's the only move. You don't buy Bitcoin yet. It's gonna push down, isn't it? Think about it. Like, you could get mass panic next week. Like, if you play bearish scenario out and bullish scenario out, and which one do you think is more feasible? Well, let's work it through. ETF customers are likely new to the crypto space, hence why they are buying ETFs and not crypto directly. They will paper hands, big selling has been followed by big buying ETFs. Yeah, that's true. That is true. We've just never seen the consistent level of selling pressure that we're getting right now. Other than maybe back here, like we said in February, which was February. Yeah. So when we push back down in the market back here in 2025. So interestingly enough, breaking below the 200 week moving average. So you could argue maybe this plays out exactly as we're seeing here before, rallying us back up. But it does mean though, and I think is logical, is that we're probably going to push down in price. That's sort of where I get to a little bit. So, protection of capital, all that kind of stuff. 4-year CETA is likely playing out in the selling price. Yeah, I literally said that. People will be going, yep, 4-year cycle done, 50-week broken. Okay, time to sell. Like I said, I took some yesterday, and I think I took some last week as well, but nothing crazy. We started not wanting banks. Now we want banks. We are a different breed. I mean, that's true. I mean, no one really wants banks. I mean, the banks are a scam anyway. That's why I'm not in banks at all. I really aren't either, by the way. I have like my bank account, but I couldn't even tell you the PIN number of my card. I have no idea. Not that I spend all my money with Bitcoin, but hey. So this is kind of where we get to a little bit right now. And yeah, I think the aggressiveness of this selling tells me that we're probably going to see some more. The death cross, yeah, true. It has. The difference is how it got there. The death cross generally was the bottom based on retail selling. This isn't retail selling, is it? Institutions selling, whale group selling. I think even long-term holders have started to dump their bags, which again is a big one. So, like I said, there's still part of me that is optimistic. Not as much as I was last week, but there's still part of me that's like, okay, maybe, just maybe, we have a reversal potentially. Let me just see if I can bring this up just to show you guys. So, yeah. So you can't really see this chart. I don't think it's the greatest of charts in the world, but again, you can start to see this uptick in terms of short-term holders. We did obviously see bigger selling in November and November 3rd, which obviously was part of that, broader push down in the market. But this will be a key thing to watch out. It's ticking up. Maybe we get another tick up tomorrow, but the trend is very much down, you know, so albeit we're not seeing as much sell pressure, the market is obviously dumping as well. So we'll see. We'll see. Tim, with all the ETFs coming in, institutional cash coming for XRP next week, why would anyone sell now? That's true. Alts can go down infinity 50% and then 90, then another 90 forever. Yeah, I mean, look, alts can go to friggin' zero, can't they? Zero. Even though we've more chance of catching a fart in a colander than a backup. Yeah, I mean, that's shit 420. That's true. Hobbs has too much emphasis has been placed on long-term holders. Sell, in my opinion. If you bought BTC for 5k, why wouldn't you take some off the table right now? Yeah, 100%. 100%. And we've seen that, haven't we? We've seen some whale wallets selling off. Again, I don't necessarily think it's the fact that they're selling. It's the amount they're selling. I don't know if there's a chart for that. I kind of feel like I'd seen something. Let's have a look. See if we can pull this up. The number one question, but that doesn't help us. So November 14th, November 4th. That's not helpful. When long-term hodl sells, cycles down when they accumulate, cycles begin right now. The 1+ year hodl line is breaking down from peak levels, exactly where every previous cycle top was formed. So again, I mean, you've got to be in a world of, you've got to be objective, not emotional. Oh my God, that's like, you know, that's kind of where a lot of people are talking about. So again, you've got percentage of supply less than 1 year is this yellow line. So, you know, arguably we at the top and then the bottom. I guess, you know, it is what it is, isn't it? 2 weeks of dumpage before pumpage. I mean, let's hope so. Like 2 bit has said before, ETFs don't guarantee high price action. BTC is prime example. Yeah, 100%. Everyone is saying each dump is manipulated to wipe out longs, so why wouldn't Binance and others send price up when most are very short? Well, I mean, they could. Let's say they could. The debate is everyone short right now? That's what you got to ask yourself, isn't it? Is everyone short on the market right now? Well, the answer is a little bit, but not crazy numbers. Think about it. So if you were to, I think even now, like let's say Bitcoin gets to 100K, 1.91 billion. Well, you're going to get somewhere near that. No one's going to, no one's going to go in the market. So the problem is you'll always get more long liquidation than shorts. But yeah, that's kind of where you'll see it. And an event like they're not going to push the price back up just because Bitcoin's dumping right now. But long-term holders can finally sell because of ETF liquidity. It's simple as that. BTC rotation institutions happen. I mean, that's not a bad choice. Not a bad shout. Charlie, thank you so much. Giving the number 3 gifter. Let's get it, baby. I think only XRP will do well. I mean, let's hope so. VRA not looking great. Yeah, I mean, nothing's looking good. Nothing is looking good. Good time to buy some ETH for entry. I would wait personally, but should we hold or exit temporarily to reduce losses? Is there going to be down more? Mark, I personally think we could see some more downside. So I said at the start of the stream, I've taken 25% of my entire portfolio is now in stablecoin. What I would say is like my degen pot, if that makes sense. So like the stuff I had in MetaMask and all the rest of it, all that ETH that was in there, it's not loads by the way, there's a bit, is now all in stablecoin. I took some more risk plays, moved back into stablecoin. So Solana, ETH predominantly, and Bitcoin and XRP are still holding those. So we'll see. Joe Bro says the Ichimoku cloud in the week still bullish, but getting close to it. True. Bitcoin P Jump says I don't want it to be over, but it feels like a bear market. All my bags going to zero. Had a bunch of a priori. Remind me in like, oh my God, it's 10 to fucking 10. Where did that stream go? Yeah, we'll take a look in a minute. Tom says the last shakeout didn't get enough people out. This one of these everyone. I mean, look, if you want to put your tinfoil hats on, and you know me, I love a conspiracy theory, by the way. I love a conspiracy theory. If you want to put your tinfoil hats on, you say that 1010 was a deliberate dump in the market, which we all know was manipulated, and the APIs, it didn't work on exchanges, is all nonsense. And you say, well, actually, this was the start of an institutional rotation to accumulate as much cryptocurrency as possible for the cheapest price and basically shake out retail who never want to get into this market again. If you allow yourself to go in that narrative, then this thing's going down way more. And what you're going to get then is loads of people that are going to be dumping this. Bear in mind, all the people that are selling are paying a fee for ETFs. All the people that are selling at a loss are then putting money back in. You've got a ton of liquidations going back into exchanges. Then, we could see a very, very short bearish market. I don't necessarily think I agree with a full-on bear market, right? Like a full-on, a full-on kind of like, oh, Chad's thingy, can you ban him, please? Oh, hold on a minute. Let me just make sure you're not trying to solicit anything in the chat, by the way. I don't like it when people try and solicit that in the chat. We're going at 74 to 86k. Jay's bearish. Yeah, I saw that Viva La Bacon. It's kind of wild, isn't it? It is kind of wild. And everyone's like, oh my God, it's like he's the man behind Bitcoin. Like, what the fuck? Like, come, really? Like, is that now a thing? I don't know if that's a thing or not, but yeah. I did see that, and everyone was like, oh my God, what the hell is happening? Liquidity overall is a problem because everything is so overpriced and no one can afford to buy more. I mean, that's true. That's true. Yeah, that's the big one, isn't it? Oh no, Epstein's hidden role fueling cryptocurrency development. Ah! No one had this on the fucking bingo sheet. Like, what the hell? No one had this one on the bingo sheet. Does it make sense to be aggressive selling the bear market with what's that say? Does it make sense such an aggressive selling in the bear market? Well, I mean, the reality is it doesn't kind of make, if I'm just dead honest, it doesn't actually make any sense. I don't think it makes any sense. I don't think this market makes sense. And I've said that for a while. Something does still feel off. It does still feel off. And again, whether it's the conspiracy theorist in me, I don't know, but something does feel off with this market. Maybe that's just the fact that institutional money's in and it's like, well, you can't control institutional money. You can sort of control retail money to a degree, but yeah. What's weird is the aggressiveness. Think about it. To go from all-time highs to 126 to where we are. In fact, let's do it so we're absolutely as accurate as we can be. It's taken us 41 days. Think about that. 41 days to get from all-time high to where we currently sit. Well, if we take the same price and it took us 168 days to do the same sort of thing. That's my opinion. Nothing makes sense anymore. Just stay patient and don't be overexposed until served. Yeah. I mean, look, if you're a trader and you are long and you've got high leverage, be very mindful. Be very, very mindful. That's all I would say. Fairground, what's going on, buddy? Says 2-bit's being done on purpose. 1010 was off 2-bit. 1010 was off 2-bit. Laugh a lot should have been the galaxy. I mean, yeah, maybe. It's always the same though. It goes down a lot faster than it goes up. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, all the YouTubers saying it's over, it's finished. So again, I go if you haven't watched the video, I'm trying to do a little bit more than just like, oh, it's over, like everything's going to zero. Solana treasury companies, by the way, are still buying loads of Solana, but I'm just trying to look at it from a macro standpoint. Like, it's dead easy, isn't it, to go on a video and go, oh, bull market's over, everyone fucking sell. I'm trying to look at it a bit more factually, let's say, a bit more like, I guess, what's happening, what we need to be aware of, and you know, some of the kind of key things that have been talked about. So, I mean, there are some wild channels out there, bro. Wild channels. So yeah, definitely stick up to date with the content, by the way. It's definitely worth it, in my opinion, by the way. As I would. What's going on, Vern? Hello, are real with your followers. What? Driven by options. Hello, are real with your followers. I mean, I think so. I assume you're asking if I'm like honest and open and, you know, telling people what I do. I think that's what you're asking. What's going on, Vern? But yeah, join my free Discord if you want to get involved in the free Discord, by the way. Headphones. Link is in the bio. Also, it's in the description, by the way, if you want to get access to our premium full Sunday report coming out later on, by the way. Then become a channel member, head down to the bottom, click that join button, or become a subscriber here on TikTok. You get access to it. It's free. It's $8 a month. No premium course is ever that good value. But yeah, my opinion, by the way, is that yes, I am very much just, I'll tell you what I've done. I announce it in the Discord when I do it. Like, I'm not in this world where I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm holding on to my coins. I keep seeing that TikTok lies of crypto bulls to tell people this is still, oh my God, there's lots of comments here that I haven't seen. Jesus. Hold on a minute. What does this say? I keep seeing these TikTok lives of crypto bulls to tell people this is still a bull run. Yeah, no, I'm literally, what's going on, Blair? I've literally come on tonight and said that I'm 25% in stablecoin right now. So yeah. Because Monad was launched and I thought my EPRA would go up, instead going down, my portfolio is disappearing. Brutal. So Monad, so I had a great call, by the way, a great call actually with with a team that's building on Monad. And yeah, I'm hoping we're going to hook something up because he'd be great to come on the show. It'd be great to come on this live stream. Like he was, yeah, I had a great conversation with him. They've got a great project launching on Monad. I'm hoping we can cover it here on the channel as well. But yeah, Monad looks super interesting. I didn't know tons about it, by the way. I didn't know tons about it, but yeah, looks pretty crazy in fairness. Monad looks wild. Now, is it going to be successful? Dunno. That's the bigger debate, isn't it? But X6 in the cycle over, there is definitely strong arguments to say that yes, it is. So yeah, they thought I was trolling. Oh, really? Isn't this just a textbook left-handed cycle? Ciao, too bad. We are in need of patience. DCA is the key. I mean, maybe to Tipperary. Got on, buddy. Johnny says, any news on Pepe Ascension? They are still farming, it seems. Yeah, I saw the advertisements. I mean, I haven't got any news, Johnny, no. The guys, so the guys I am connected with, who I think are a marketing agent for them, they've literally not sent anything to me for ages. Where are they? Man, have they deleted their thing? There. Last seen within a month, last seen within a week. So one of them's there. But yeah, unfortunately, I haven't. I guess it still hasn't launched. That sucks. So we're down like 30% from all-time high. How much is normal pullback? I mean, look, like Calamari, I still have it. I still have it, in fairness. Monadley one launching tomorrow. It's Wednesday, isn't it? I thought it was Wednesday, 37. I thought the pre-sale starts tomorrow. Yeah, Johnny, you're probably right, in fairness. I'll do that tonight, actually. I'll go through that and check it. That's a good idea. The last ad I bought, a new washer and dryer set. This is great. What ad? What? What? Pre-sale tomorrow. Yeah, I thought it was pre-sale tomorrow. Which markets are open now? None. I think the first one's like Shanghai and the Chinese and the Asian markets open. But yeah, I mean, everyone on YouTube is pretty bearish right now. I can't see anyone that's like super bullish. I mean, Lark Davis a little bit, I guess. Crypto bear market. Paul Barron, Crypto's bearish. Martini guy, I think he's bearish. I don't know who this person is. Crypto Queen Amy, no idea who she is. I mean, Superman won't be. Superman's not going to be bearish, is he? So lots of bears. Lots of bears. Crypto Wendio, massive BlackRock exec drops crypto bombshell. That was 4 days ago. Austin's never bearish. Look, critical update on XRP. It's all going to be freaking fine. Thanks, Austin. Right, let me close some of these windows down because we've got like a million open and it's kind of annoying. There we go. There we go. Mandatory daily mention of Asian markets. ROS, you know it. Alts isn't taking as much damage anymore in terms of BTC down by 4. They look like 5-15%. Now it's down. Yeah, I mean, that's true. I'm getting ads every 2 minutes now. I'm on a buying spree. What? Well, you shouldn't be. Ads automator is turned off at my end. People on TikTok are telling people to hold them. Don't worry. I hate seeing that risk off. Yeah, true. Driven by options, 100%. What's my advice for new investors? It depends what they bought. They need to be following this channel. Yeah, I mean, new investors is depending on what you bought. If you bought like some like absolute random dogshit meme coin, they need to learn, right? It's harsh. I know it's harsh. It's a very harsh reality. But if you bought some random dogshit meme coin that you think is going to go freaking zero, then like it's life. If you bought Bitcoin, you're probably okay. You're probably okay. Again, my view right now is I'm still in my Ethereum, Solana, XRP positions. I've taken a little bit from my more risk assets. I'll probably take a little bit more from some of the ones. By the way, some of them are very close to being in a loss. And so cut the cloth and go, okay, fine. It's annoying because they were way higher up. I mean, they were worth way more. I mean, literally like 8 weeks ago. But it is what it is. Starlock says, how George? Yeah, I think George's class coin's doing pretty well, actually. What is BitBoy saying? I mean, I don't know what he's doing anymore. It's all a bit sad, really, if I'm dead honest. Obviously, I've never had anything to do with him. I probably never will have anything. I don't have a lot to do with anybody, really. I'm just me. I just have you guys. It's just us, isn't it, against the world. But I mean, I don't watch any of his stuff. Bitcoin bears are everywhere was the last one. I mean, these are all AI thumbnails as well. So I mean, he's just not having a good time. I don't think. If I'm totally honest. But yeah, not having a good time. So Bitcoin bears, government reopens. Yeah. You only lose when you sell. That's true. That's true. So 93.4. So Bitcoin is continuing its downward trend at the minute. BTC entering a golden pocket currently. Is it? Is it? De-risking at the bottom is amateur, mate. I mean, is it? Is it? I feel like we get a lot of hate for this. You're coming from an angle of that I haven't took profits on the way up. Like, if you're coming from the angle of like I bought the top, then yeah, 100%. Like I haven't been on TikTok as long as I've been on YouTube. Trust me. I was live when FTX collapsed. I was live when fucking hell, Luna, like the day after Luna collapsed. Like, I've been here for a while, mate. I've been here for a while. Do you know what I mean? We were buying Solana at $8. We bought Ethereum at $700. Like, it's fine. You know, and equally, I don't think it's the bottom, by the way, but it's due. But I mean, yeah, look, you're right. De-risking at 93,000. It's only amateur if you think we're not going lower. So your assumption would be, well, 93,300 is the bottom, and we're going to bounce to the upside. I think if it's a bear market and it's triggering the bear market, we're going lower than 93K. That's my opinion. So therefore, it's not de-risking. De-risking at 93,000, which would have been 20K over the previous all-time high, isn't actually bad. You could argue and say, well, you missed out on the top. Yeah, of course I did. 100% missed out. But that's why we always say and advocate every single freaking time we're live. Sell on the way up, baby. Sell on the way up. I mean, sometimes you kind of have to look back objectively and say, did I take some money out of the market? If you did, congrats. If you didn't, ask yourself why you didn't. And by the way, I'm not going to sit here and start preaching all righteous and like, oh yeah, I'm in stablecoin, baby. I'm fine. Because yeah, I'm still pissed as everyone else is. Like, I wanted this to be like 170, 180K, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Bitcoin Base tempted to buy some Toshi now. Is it going up soon? Currently at 0.000408. My view, Bitcoin BJam, I would just wait. I would just wait. That's my view. I don't think there's a rush for it. If the market's going to push down, you know, it is. I've just done my my finances on crypto. I'm down about 30x. Holy shit. I mean, I'm probably not far off that in fairness. But you're down. This is what you got. This is all about psychological. You're down 30x from your all-time high price. That because I'm not down 30x on my portfolio, but I'm down from where everything was. I'm down from where everything was at the top, if that makes sense. And again, like Holmes says, we may get a relief rally. It doesn't feel like it right now. There may be an element of support that could come in and see us kind of hold a little bit potentially. What you need is we need a bullish catalyst. I know that sounds crazy, but we just need some good news. And ask yourself the question: where's the good news going to come from? Where do we get the good news from this week? I believe sentiment is key leading indicator. We are in extreme fear. Therefore, history says that we will get a reversal soon. I think large reversals by December 1st. Otherwise, who stands to benefit now? Well, I guess that could be an argument. What was I going to look at here? I was going to look at something. Yeah, I've been dying in profit, but I'm not down on my original. Yeah. What do you think XRP will go down to? I mean, it's a great question. XRP, I feel like might be one of the coins that doesn't get wrecked as much as everything else, simply because of its potential use case and of stimulus, if that makes sense. Yeah, so again, my point here is we don't want to see this. You don't want to see 5,000 outflow out of IBIT. Like, that is such a big number that when I looked into this, I'm sure that is a potential, like that's the potential of the market. 5,000 Bitcoin. Yeah, okay, fair enough. So maybe not. So again, what we don't want to see is another massive outflow in IBIT. Week 25th of April low to all-time high. Talk to me later. I just keep accumulating for long haul XRP. Joe Morris, what's going on? We could get a 2020 bear cycle. Maybe. Johnny says XRP at 30 cents. I hope not. Trump-China deal rumored to be close. Yeah, I saw that. I did see that. Let's see what the sentiment is. Dead quick. Let's bring the Bitcoin price up just so we can keep an eye on it. I mean, look at this. I mean, this is Thursday. You know, relentless selling, and then down. I have been using them. I've been using fibs. I'm not at the minute because I'm looking at something else. Let's just see if we can get a bit of a sentiment. Peter Schiff says, I believe MicroStrategy will eventually go bankrupt. Ooh, Peter. You know. Wild. Justin, Harvard quietly quadrupled its IBIT holding over the past 3 months. I think most people know about that. Donald Trump Jr. says, crypto is the future of finance. I mean, half of these people are just full of shit. I've been unfollowing so many people right now because they just keep talking nonsense. What else? Yeah, so Canary Capital CEO, that was a big thing last week. He was pretty bullish. Tomorrow marks the first day of the bull run. Today was the bottom. BTC heading to 200k this year. He deleted the post within 20 seconds. See, this is the problem I have at the minute. There's so much fucking nonsense. Like who posts that? For then 250,000 people to look at it. Like what? Bro, come on. And it winds me up. Yeah, but as I said, you have to wonder why they're coming out of Bitcoin. Is it to go into XRP? Well, I mean, who knows? Yeah, Fairground is wild, isn't it? Given, what does that say there? Given the bear market's usually run for 11 months, what level do we see BTC at 40k? I don't think it goes that low, but if it is a bear market, I feel like it may not last as long as previous ones. I 1,000 Bitcoin, I wouldn't wait for it to go down to 50k. I mean, that's true as well. Anyone who posts shit like that. Yeah, I mean, I've literally unfollowed so many people like in the last 24 hours. In my opinion. So, I mean, one of the other thing that people are talking about is this business cycle. Remember we watched the Raoul Pal thing. Do you want to watch that again? It was actually pretty good. The current US business cycle is still flatlining, but when it begins to expand, readings over 50, the BTC blow off top will begin to form patience. So that ISM data, which again, lots of people are predicting that's going to be the thing. Let me see if I can find it because it was pretty interesting actually. And then we'll watch that and then we'll kind of call it a day. Where is he? Here he is. Yes, ETH now. I mean, yeah, market's pushing down, but ETH potentially dropping below $3,000. Right, here it is. Let's keep an eye on the markets. Where is it? Oh, man. Tired today. Stress of the markets. Let me have a look. Casper is the future. I think Casper could have been the future, but it ended up not being. I don't even know what price it is right now. Oh, here he goes. Yeah, I've got it. Right. So it's 2 minutes 26. Obviously, TikTok, you can't see it, but you can sort of listen to it because it's important. Well, it's important. It kind of, I guess, gives you a view as to maybe, just maybe, why we could head up into a 2026 bull market cycle. So again, listen to this and then we'll react and then we'll get out of it.
Why is Bitcoin sort of not wildly off to the races yet? And it's this chart. Bitcoin is basically, this is a detrended Bitcoin. And it's basically the ISM, which is the business cycle. Remember, we've always said it's the business cycle stupid. It is always the business cycle stupid. And all of these people who claim it's the 4-year cycle based around this and that, they don't understand the fundamental of what the business cycle is, why there's a 4-year cycle in everything. And we've explained it. We'll go through it in great detail tomorrow in our Everything Code presentation. But basically, it's following the ISM. And rates have been following the same pattern. You see, rates should have come lower. They need to come lower because we need to roll the debt. We've talked about this. That's part of the everything code, fundamental part. And ISM, because rates are so high, has meant that Main Street has been screwed while Wall Street's made money from debasement. Earnings versus scarce assets. This is the issue that they need to solve, and they need to get rates lower. They get rates lower. Why? Why do we have an elongated business cycle that looks like virtually no other real other time?
I'm sure
It's
this. I
because,
think my.
and I only just
TikTok
found
was
this out
weird.
redoing the work on the everything code recently, is that in 2021-22, they actually extended the maturity of the debt from 4 years to 5 years. So that extension of the maturity of debt has pushed out the business cycle a year. The 4-year cycle this time around is a 5-year cycle. We don't know what the next one will be until we see where they all end up getting refinanced, whether it comes back to 4 because they managed to get some stuff at the long end, or whether they shorten it because everything's in the short end. We don't know yet, but this one is a 5-year cycle. And this is what it looks like. The 5.4-year sine curve, 5.4 years is the exact average weighted maturity of the debt. And it tells us the ISM should peak by 2026. We think liquidity probably peaks before that, as the rate of change of ISM changes and the rate of change of liquidity changes. Our best guess remains well into 2026, probably Q2.
So there you go. TikTok. I don't know if you can see me, if I'm honest, because I think I've just got like a weird face on the screen. But anyway, 2026. That is if you want, I guess, to be marginally optimistic about maybe where the market goes. Then that could be a good news story. But yeah, like I said, I don't know if yeah, I mean that's true. Yeah, that's absolutely true. Then just can you guys see me, or is it just like a big face on the screen? Yeah, I know YouTube can see me because YouTube's fine. I think TikTok might be a bit broken. But anyway, yeah, the CME is here. The old school CME gap all the way back here. Look, we still have it on our chart, baby. We still have it on the chart. There it is. Look, the old CME gap. Let's color that in. Let's color this in green for like boom shakalaka cool dwy. If we get to that point, it's going to be the super boom. Okay, cool. Do you think that they will do Christmas Miracle for a spike of bull? Oh man, I wish. I hope so. But anyway. Yeah, I mean potentially this is what we're looking for. Like, it's even got an arrow. I'm going to delete this arrow and put a better arrow on. Actually, I feel like a better arrow should be good news. There we go. Look. There you go. And that's exactly what we're seeing. So, that's a CME gap. Maybe it gets there. Maybe it doesn't. BTC is, however, did have a wick down dump back up to 93,500 right now. So it did bounce a touch. So we'll see. All this changes with the passing of the stablecoin bill, right? I mean, manipulation passes with the changing of the stablecoin bill. What's your view on ETFs coming next week? I think they will dump. I think they dump. Pre-markets I've got here, by the way. I don't know if there is a view of ETFs prior to market opens, but yeah, it doesn't look particularly wonderful out there. So it looks like Asia's going to dump. Looks like Europe's going to dump. Certainly on the stock market front. Anyway, commodities looks unchanged, so we'll have to see if that changes a little bit. But yeah, treasuries look like they're going to come down a little bit as well, which will be sort of another sign of potential restrictiveness from the Fed. So man, it's so boring to see this dump, and yeah, it's hard. It's hard. Draw the fib on what? Bitcoin? What do you want to know? I can't see it probably. What is the CME price? Oh, right, CME price. When is the next meeting? 21st. So that is, I mean, technically it wants to be a little bit lower, which is like there, and that wants to be a little bit higher, which is there. That's your CME gap. It is at 92,750 to 92,000. So yeah. That's where you got to get to, baby. That is where you've got to get to. In fact, So, oh, what did I do that for? There we go. There we go. Right. Interesting part, 0.65 fib based on that CME gap you just marked. Weekly fib, 25th on the high. And where, I don't know how that sits. Yeah, probably not far off. Probably not far off. So 0.65. Oh, you're going the other way. So the 618, 94,339. Extreme fear for tomorrow. I mean, maybe, yeah. Oh, for the 25th of April to the high. Sorry. Oh, no, I did that, didn't I? Yeah, I just, that's literally the one I just did. Yeah, that one there. Yeah, so the 786 bang on at 93,570. Depending on what your levels are for the fibs. So, but yeah, I mean, potentially 786 Fibonacci comes in absolutely on the money. So you could argue maybe another break below could be bad news. Tomorrow, everything is green. A small correction to the big fall. Do you think, King Kong? Everything green tomorrow? I think Asia dumps. My personal opinion. I think Asia dumps the market, but we'll see. Best case scenario, you come down to the CME gap and then bounce to the upside. Yeah, true. That is best case scenario. I mean, if you were to look at previous CME gaps, what do they generally do? I mean, generally we have come down to them. So you'd argue, you know, this here, for example, is a CME gap that we got. There, look. So CME gap there. We came down, retested it, followed by then consolidation to break back to the upside. Where have we got some more CME gaps? Anyone see any more? Any more for any more? A minute. Any more for any more? Here we go, look. You could argue, yeah. Look, the breakdown on the CME gap down here, look. Broke down, broke through the CME gap, rallied to a new all-time high. So, I mean, technically, you could argue and say, yeah, if we fill the CME gap, maybe, just maybe, there might be some hope. The risk versus reward, that's what you got to think about. That's how you got to play the market. And more importantly, that should be on your minds right now. It doesn't mean go and sell everything into the market. It just means absolutely err, in my opinion, with an element of caution that you maybe haven't done before. Certainly that's what I'm doing. I'm not going full on 100% in stablecoin because the market may turn. And as much as people might go up, I am 100% convinced the bear market's here. There's always crazy shit could happen. The Fed could inject liquidity. We could see that repo debt all of a sudden start to fall. We could see a stimulus from Trump. We could announce the $2,000 checks are all going out of people. It all might change very quickly. At the minute, though, we're definitely bearish and in a bearish trend, and that's what we need to be mindful of. And we will close under the 50-week moving average, which a lot of people have been thinking about. So again, it is worth thinking about. It is worth absolutely being very much aligned to, you know, kind of what's going on. The other thing I think is important to think about as well, by the way, is especially in this kind of market, you could absolutely end up with, let's say the Fed minutes on Wednesday are going to come out. And actually you get this announcement. It says, oh, Jerome Powell's got a big announcement, or Donald Trump's got an announcement at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday in relation to the Federal Reserve. Everyone's going to go, holy shit, what the hell is that? And then Trump obviously comes out and he's like, and his name is John C. And that could absolutely flip the bull market bullish again. And we could all be like, holy crap. It's fine. Remember, Trump can't afford to do anything with the midterm. So worth noting on that as well. Right. Everybody. Ponzi scheme. Feyenoord, what's going on, buddy? With that being said, that is me for tonight. 68% of you out of the 105 votes are bullish. Shout out to the bullish bulls in the house. It's more lately we're going down for a while. Rudy thinks so. You might be right. As always, I'm going to be back tomorrow night, keeping you up to date with what's going on in the market, as well as trying to keep you optimistically bullish while educationally bearish. All right, if you work out what the hell that even means, you're a better person than I am. But I'll be back tomorrow night. Look out for some content. Remember, Bitcoin update videos drop at 11:30 UK time. XRP or another video drops at 4:30 in the afternoon UK time. So definitely look out for those. And as always, I'll be back tomorrow night. If you're on TikTok, smash that follow button. Look out for content. Let's try and push the channel. Let's get us moving. As always, if you're on YouTube as well, thank you so much for your support recently. Hit the like button, hit the comments button, and just let me know. Until tomorrow, though, thank you so much. I will absolutely. Tim, I mean, I'll bring it up, Tim, if you want. Let me first just check it. Yeah, it's bad news, Tim. It's bad news. Anyway, thank you so much, everybody. I'm going to catch you guys tomorrow. I appreciate it. Hopefully we can hold strong. Hopefully we get some positive catalysts. But at the meantime, do not round trip your potential profits that you made at the bottom of the bear market. It's not worth it. Okay, everybody. Thanks so much. Catch you tomorrow. Take care.